We're here today opposite Downing Street with a candlelit vigil for the UK residents who are remaining in Guantanamo Bay. I have a constituent who's been in Guantanamo Bay for 4 years, Jamil al-Banna. He's been there, held there without charge, without trial, and really without hope, because the British government have just left him there to rot. And so I've been here with his family and with many colleagues and supporters to try and persuade Tony Blair. I hope if he's looked out of his window and seen how many people have been here today, I hope he will realise how strongly people feel about this, and that we want him as one of the last acts that he does before he leaves office to please intervene on behalf of my constituent Jamil al-Banna and the other UK residents in Guantanamo Bay.
My constituent Bishir al-Rouri was detained by the Gambians when he was on a business trip with some colleagues in November 2002. He was then handed over to the CIA, and the CIA illegally rendered him to the dark prison in Afghanistan, where he was tortured and questioned. He was then taken to Bagram Airport and then on to Guantanamo, where he's been for nearly 4 years without charge, without any evidence in the wrongdoing being presented, and without any trial.
For Amnesty International, we think this is a really important protest because essentially Guantanamo Bay, now 5 years old, has seen first British nationals, 9 British nationals, held without charge or trial for several years, and of course also 8, formerly 9 UK residents, people who have been resident in this country for several years, in some cases 20 or 30 years, and have deep roots in this country, yet still, and this is something that we find astonishing really, the UK government won't make representations for these UK residents. One of those, of course, is Jamil al-Banna, another Bishir al-Rouri. Now, Lib Dem MPs, I'm glad to say, Edward Davey and Sarah Teather, have been very vocal, especially in recent months, in trying to raise the profile of the plight of these UK residents. Amnesty International commends that, and we think it's important to keep the pressure on the UK government over these outstanding, if you like, British detainees at Guantanamo Bay.
I don't think it's right that the government should take refuge in the distinction between citizenship and residence. I think the government has an overwhelming moral obligation to ensure that these people who've lived here, who've contributed to the economy, who've got families, many of whom are citizens, ensure that these people are returned to the United Kingdom.
In my debate on Monday in the House of Commons, I demanded that the Prime Minister makes full representations direct to President Bush to secure the release of Bishir al-Rouri and then hopefully the other British residents there. This is a campaign that Liberal Democrats have been leading from the start. Charles Kennedy, Maine Campbell from our leadership, and then Sarah Teather and myself with constituents in Guantanamo. We must not rest in our campaigning until these people are released.
The British government has a moral obligation towards these men. It's no good them claiming that just because they're not British citizens that they have no standing in international law to intervene, because we know that's complete rubbish. The German government managed very successfully to intervene on behalf of a non-German national, so we know that Tony Blair could do that. He could bring these men back to their families where they belong if he so chose to do. I hope, Tony Blair, if you see this, that you will intervene on behalf of all the residents in Guantanamo Bay and bring them home to their families.